Morning, students. Our subject is wastewater management. We are in Unit 5. Our present topic is manufacturing process and origin characteristics, effects, and treatment methods of oil refineries. So, guys, here the oil refining process. The step one is crude oil. Crude oil to fractionation units. From fractionation units are liquefied petroleum gas, naphtha, kerosene, and aviation turbine fuel, diesel oil, and residual fuel. Secondary process catalytic cracking and reforming, thermal cracking, and others. Here, from secondary process, desired product specifications, feedstocks, and from catalytic cracking and reforming, lubricating oils, thermal cracking is bituminous, and others are coke. This is the refining process. Petroleum industry have had considerable role in generation and release of waste materials into the environment. A variety of waste products are produced in the refineries in the gaseous, liquid, and solid phases, which must be treated and disposed in an environmentally friendly manner. Production, refining, and conversion of crude oil to useful chemicals are associated with the direct or indirect release of waste materials and pollutants into the environment. Water consumption in oil refineries is huge, and so is the wastewater generation. Crude oil contains small amount of water soluble compounds, but water and hydrocarbons are basically immiscible, which makes wastewater treatment operations challenging. Oil refineries are under immense pressure to comply with the new rules and regulations related to environment protection and operation safety. Despite regular generation of waste, there are inevitable release of pollutants in refineries due to malfunctioning of the units, pump leakage, erosion, corrosion, pipeline failure, etc. These contaminants are highly mobile and can easily travel distances by different mechanisms through air, soil, and underground water. Contamination may be in the form of free phase product, example liquid or vapor, dissolved products, or emulsified phase. On the other hand, physical chemical properties of water and soil will be affected, which results in shifting ecological equilibrium in damaged areas. Ultimate fate of refinery waste. The primary process determining the fate of waste materials in an oil refinery may be summarized as dispersion in air and water, dissolution in water, emulsification, sedimentation, absorption, and spreading. The waste materials may undergo some of these processes simultaneously. Types of waste. Utility waste. Refineries usually own their own power plant to be independent of the grid, which, which generates gaseous emissions and ash. Refineries also need high pressure steam for different operations. Steam production also generate waste gaseous stream in boiler house, cooling towers, heat exchangers, and activities associated with cleaning and maintain also generate mostly dilute aqueous waste streams. These wastes are usually non-toxic. Processing waste. Dissolving process waste. Depending on the crude oil, the wastewater stream may contain chlorides, sulfides, bicarbonates, ammonia, hydrocarbons, phenol, and suspended solids. Some dissolved gases such as hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and volatile hydrocarbons may be dissolved during the desalting process depending on the type of crude oil. Hydrocracking waste. Addition of water which partially absorbs ammonia and H2S from the reactor effluent is the major waste stream in hydrocracking. Absorption of H2S from the hydrogen recycled streams also generates gaseous and liquid waste streams which are small in quantity. Spent catalyst and metallic compounds are the solid waste in this process. Furnace for feed preheating is a source of toxic gases waste due to low quality fuel use. FCC waste similar to hydrocracking waste plus fine catalyst practicals discharge from stripping and regenerator. Large amount of catalyst are withdrawn as solid waste from the regenerator. Fine catalyst particles from electrostatic separator. Recent advances in FC technology have resulted in energy saving and thus less gaseous and solid waste generation. Similar to hydrocracking waste pulse, fine catalyst particles discharge from stripping and regenerator. Large amount of catalyst are withdrawn as solid waste from the regenerator. Fine catalyst particles from electrostatic separator. Recent advances in FCC technology have resulted in energy saving and thus less gaseous and solid waste generations. Coking waste. Yeah, coking waste. Furnace stock gaseous emissions, including SOx, NOx, and CO, and unburned fuel. Thick slurry containing water and coke and water-soluble hydrocarbons. Coke dust and hydrocarbons and fugitive emissions. Waste acidic solution containing acid, sulfated compounds, and dissolved hydrocarbons. Sludge from product neutralization, sodium hydroxide scrubber. Gaseous emissions from the reactor are setting tank, mostly light hydrocarbons. Emissions associated with the heater and refrigeration units. Catalytic reforming waste. Toxic volatile aromatic chemicals which are formed during catalytic reforming process. Fugitive emission of these highly volatile compounds during the reforming process and the volatile components of the feed are the major sources of their release into the environment. Due to catalyst attrition, some particulate matter and dust can be generated during the reforming process. Small amount of liquid waste is produced in the scrubber. Wastewaters from petroleum refining consists of cooling water, processed water, storm water, and sanitary sewage water. A large portion of water used in petroleum refining is used for cooling, may contain hydrocarbons due to leakage. Processes wastewater is usually highly contaminated depending on the process. Storm water. Surface water runoff is intermittent and will contain constituents from spills to the surface, leaks in the equipment, and any materials that may have collected in drains. Runoff surface water is also includes water coming from crude and product storage tank roof drains. Wastewaters are treated in on-site wastewater treatment facilities and then discharged to publicly owned treatment works (POTWS) are discharged to surfaces waters under National Pollution Discharge Elimination Systems (NPDES) permits. It is essential not to mix wastewaters from different processes as it may complicate the treatment process unless they have similar properties. Petroleum refineries typically utilize primary and secondary wastewater treatment. Wastewater treatment plants are a significant source of refinery air emissions and solid waste. Wastewater treatment scheme. Combined wastewater from refinery, wastewater from AORP, slope oil tanks, two stages, mixing and oil and grease. From the mixing, oil and grease traps 3 to 4 hours RT and oil and grease. Next, air supply equalization. Emulsifier, dissolved air flotation, oil grease, lime and alum salon, 10% solution each, a flash mixer. Primary setting sludge to SDB, septic tank and aeration tank, and secondary clarifier, return sludge and excess sludge to SDB, treated wastewater. Oil skimmers. Pieces of equipment that remove oil floating on the surface of fluid. In general, oil skimmers work because they are made of materials to which oil is more likely to stick than the fluid it is floating on. Free treating the fluid with oil skimmers reduces the overall cost of cleaning the liquid. All designs depend on the laws of gravity and on surface tension in order to function. The six primary types of oil skimmers are belt, disc, drum or barrel style, mop, large tube or mini tube, and floating suction oil skimmers. So equalization tanks. They are provided to balance fluctuating flows or concentrations, to assist self-neutralization, or to even out the effect of a periodic sludge discharge from a batch process. Types of equalization tanks. flow through type usual in assisting self-neutralization. A flow through type tank once filled gives output equal to input. Uh, Intermittent flow type, flow balancing and self-neutralization are both achieved by using two tanks intermittently one after another. Variable inflow, constant discharge type, when flows are large, an equalization tank of such a size may have to be provided that the inflow can be variable while outflow is at a constant rate. So guys, this is the skimmers, trickling filters, also called trickle filter, trickling biofilter, biological filter, and biological trickling filter, roughening filters, intermittent filters, packed media bed filters, alternative septic systems, percolating filters, attached growth process, and a fixed film process consists of a fixed beds of rocks, lava, coke, gravel, slag, polyurethane, foam, peat mass, and ceramic or plastic media over which sewage flows downward and causes a layer of microbial slim biofilm to grow, covering the bed of media. Aerobic conditions are maintained by splashing, diffusion, and either by forced air flowing through the bed or natural convection of air if the filter medium is porous. So aeration tank. An aeration tank is a place where a liquid is held in order to increase the amount of air within it. There are two main methods of aerating liquid: forcing air through the liquid or forcing liquid through the air. The water is mixed with the biological agents and then aerated. The increased oxygen promotes the growth of the beneficial biological material. That material will consume unwanted waste products held in the water. The beneficial material will grow due to the increased oxygen and food, which makes it easier to filter from the clean water. Lagoons. Sometimes refineries have lagoons or final polishing ponds. Types of aerated lagoons are basins, suspension mixed lagoons, where there is sufficient energy provided by the erosion equipment to keep the sludge in suspension. Speculate lagoons, where there is insufficient energy provided by the erosion equipment to keep the sludge in suspension and solids settle to the lagoon floor. The biodegradable solids in the settled sludge then degrade anaerobically and minimum national standards. The treated water should have the maximum limits of the following: BOD, biological oxygen demand, 25 milligram per liter, 30-day average, and 45 milligram per liter, 7 days average. TSS, total suspended solids, 30 milligram per liter, 30-day average, and 45 milligram per liter, 7-day average. pH shall remain between 6 to 9. In addition, there shall be no visible solids and or visible oil. Pollution reduction or prevention in refineries. There are three options for pollution reduction in a refinery. reduce or eliminate waste generation at the sources, recycling back or use for other purpose waste treatment. Compared to liquid and solid waste, air emissions are the largest source of untreated waste released to the environment as they are more difficult to capture. Segregate process waste streams, control solids content of water as solid particles and oil make thick sludges which adhere to the wall of the treatment units and results in efficiency reduction as well as increase in maintenance cost. Train personnel to prevent soil contamination. Install vapor recovery for barge loading. Install high pressure power washer. Chlorinated solvent vapor degreasers can be replaced with high pressure power washers which do not generate spent solvent hazardous waste. Refurbish or eliminate underground piping. Underground piping can be a source of undetected releases to the soil and groundwater. Replace old boilers. It is possible to replace a large number of old boilers with a single new cogeneration plant with emissions controls. Eliminate use of open ponds. Remove unnecessary storage tanks from service since storage tanks are one of the largest sources of VOC emissions. A reduction in the number of these tanks can have a significant impact. Place secondary seals on storage tanks, especially when volatile compounds are stored, example gasoline. Establish leak detection and repair program. Install rupture discs and plugs. Rupture discs on pressure relief valves and plugs in open-ended valves can reduce fugitive emissions. The primary barrier to most pollution reduction projects is cost, as many pollution reduction options simply do not pay for themselves. The equipment used in the petroleum refining industry are very capital intensive and have very long lifetimes, which reduces the incentive to make process modifications to expensive installed equipment that is still useful. It is a complicated situation influenced by many factors, some of which are out of the control of the industry. Thank you. So thank you guys all of your patience. Next time I will teach you the next lesson.